Welcome to Joa Fitness Health Wellness Video Podcast, a space to ignite your day through positive conversations. We bring people that have created excellence in their life, sharing high vibration in their reawakening path.
Hello, my friends. Happy Friday. You are listening back into Alignment Podcast. My name is Joa Rivas, and I am a yoga and Pilates teacher from 2010. I am excited to bring this podcast to everyone in the world because we bring so much knowledge about the spine that sometimes we forget. This podcast is for you if you have any type of spinal dysfunction, if you have back pain, if you are experiencing neck pain, perhaps you are having migraines. Last Friday, we actually shared information about headaches and migraines and the relation between these symptoms and our spine, and a specific technique that is called EPIC technique that has been revolutionary to release the pain through an alignment of the neck. And today we are third time with Dr. Ernest Pecoraro. He is in New Jersey and he is bringing his knowledge today and his presence. He always brings that wisdom about over 30 years of experience. So thank you so much, Dr. Ernest Pecoraro. How are you today?
I'm great, thank you, and thank you for having me on. I'd love to give a lot of information for people to get their health better.
Yes, we have talked for the past 2 weeks about the EPIC technique, which is a treatment that is used to realign the cervical, and in this way to create a cascade of positive changes in the body, in the entire spine. And this was actually coming from an inspiration after your daughter was treated of a lower back pain. She actually released that pain starting from the neck. So interesting. I have before in the past doctors about the TMJ and the tongue tie release, so dentists, which for me was also an eye-opening, reminding that our teeth, our tongue can also be so related to our spine. And today we actually going to go deep into the concussions because it's happening sometimes in the moment that we never expected. We can faint or anything can happen in our head, and it can actually create so many issues afterwards. And I do have some of my clients. I'm actually a wellness coach, and I help a lot about posture, but many people come because they're actually experiencing the issues after a concussion. Even though a concussion normally takes 14 days to be healed, still it can bring so many consequences related to the brain and body connection. And I know this is one of your most interesting topics that you love to share, is actually the connection of our brain with our body and how to optimize this. So please tell us a little bit about what is a concussion, what are the regular treatments, and how EPIC technique can help to release this discomfort.
Well, a concussion is actually a traumatic injury to the brain from a car accident, hitting your head, falling down and hitting your head, anything like that. The brain will hit against the inside of the skull and cause some damage to the cells of the brain. So what needs to be done, there's a lot of different symptoms that can occur. There could occur unconsciousness, there could be slurred speech, problems with balance, all different types of things, because the brain controls everything. So it's very important to heal the brain because there could be, like you said, lasting problems there. What we do with EPIC treatment is we work on the first vertebra of the spine, called the atlas. It's right next to the brainstem. And because there's a lot of blood vessels next to it that feed the brain and drain the brain of fluid, it's very, very important to keep the atlas in alignment, because when you hit your head, usually the atlas will go out of alignment and causing problems in the blood flow.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So even though the head could be just the local area that is affected, it can actually go even deeper down into our cervical. That's what you're saying?
Yes, it could knock out the cervical spine, especially the atlas. And the atlas has very close to it the internal carotid artery, which feeds the brain, and the internal jugular vein, which drains the brain. So that can impede the healing of the concussion.
And a reminder, some of the signs for those people that may be experiencing concussion are like headaches, nauseous. It could also bring some blurry vision. It can also bring lack of concentration, because our brain is not fully, like you say, fueling proper blood flow towards the brain. It could be also confusion. It could be just simply not able to remember and having some issues with memory. So these are some of the signs. And if you're actually experiencing, or one of your friends, this is definitely some topic for you. And what are the regular treatments that people normally find as in a healthcare regular medicine for concussions?
The usual thing is just to, well, first you have to observe the patient, because the swelling can occur when the body's healing, and it can cause swelling in the brain, which then can be very dangerous. It could cause death even, or paralysis, or a lot of different things like that. So usually you want to make sure the person doesn't go to sleep or lay down for 3 hours, because within that time period, you'll know whether the brain is swelling up. You would check also the eyes, because one eye may have a dilated pupil where the other one doesn't, and that's due to the pressure on the brain. So observing the patient is very, very important in the beginning, the first couple of days, to make sure none of these things occur. After that, it's basically what they do is they observe, and if anything dangerous like that occurs, like you feel extremely tired and can't wake up and things like that, those are danger signals.
But normally a concussion is about a week to 2 weeks to be able to heal and come back to the regular activities, or do you have cases where you can see that it's longer than this?
Yes, it could always be longer, but usually if it's not a real bad concussion, it should go away, the symptoms, within a couple of weeks. But again, it won't bring the atlas back in place, and there can be repercussions over a period of time. There's also the fact there's a thing called the lymphatic system, which is a system which goes and it repairs the brain cells, and it brings nutrients to the area, and also takes away waste products. So that's very important. And if the cervical spine is out of whack, then it's going to stop that system from doing what it needs to do as much as it needs to do, especially with a concussion.
And actually, like you are commenting, which is so important, the lymphatic system in our brain, it happens when we're asleep. So one of the best ways for those people experiencing and trying to treat a concussion will be first to improve all about relaxation and lengthening the sleep. So make sure that you are having enough rest. Make sure that you having proper water, proper hydration, so we can actually during the night we bring that water, that fluid into our brain for lymphatic, and like you say, to drain all the toxics out. Now let's say if you get somebody that has been having a concussion, like say the concussion was recorded 6 months ago, he need a proper treatment, but even after 6 months the person is experiencing headaches, or is experiencing trouble to balance. Good EPIC technique be able to perhaps address this these consequences after 6 months?
Yes, we actually have a lot of patients who have had that. Most patients we don't see until after 6 months, even a year, even several years down the line, because when they get the concussion, most of the problem seems to go away, but because the atlas is taken out of its normal place over the period of time, it will cause headaches and things that you had mentioned, tiredness, uh, problems with balance, because the blood flow is still being impeded because the atlas is out of place and the lymphatic system is also being impeded. So the brain health of the person is in optimum. Most people don't realize that.
And this treatment, one more time, I know we've been talking before about EPIC technique, which is the realignment of the spine, starting on the atlas, which is the very first area in our cervical. So if you do this treatment, normally how many treatments will take to be able to see some improvement?
It all depends on the patient, because sometimes there's like degeneration in the spine and things like that. Sometimes with one treatment, you'll see amazing results, but we always do follow-ups to make sure the atlas stays in place, because when the atlas is holding in place, then all the body's immune system can heal it. If it goes out of place, it kind of stops healing. So we follow up on patients for a couple of months with spread out visits to make sure the atlas is holding. If it goes out of place at that time, we put it back in, make sure that the atlas can normally function with the blood and all that to make sure they're doing well.
And again, to remind us, how is the EPIC technique? You said, as I remember, you actually said there is a specific position for X-rays. It's not a regular position for an X-ray on the neck, and then you get the results, and then from there you apply the techniques. Which, can you please remind us how is it for those people that are listening to this podcast for the first time?
Yes, what we do is we have to position the patient very specifically to make sure that we're reading the X-ray properly. And we have a spinal engineering software where we analyze the X-rays, because everybody's bones are a little bit different. And for that person, we find coordinates that are exactly for that person to see how the atlas and the rest of the cervical spine is out of position. Then once we have those coordinates, we take them into the adjusting instrument room, and we have to place them down on their side very specifically. And we have to put those coordinates for that person into the machine, and that will aim the machine at their atlas very specifically. And the way we move the bone is with a sound wave. So the patient doesn't feel anything. Yeah. It's very painless. They so do feel the results.
It's not even an invasive regular cracking bones. Is actually really precise, and it's very short and not even painful. So that's actually great. I'm actually curious, and I'm considering to take a flight to New Jersey to experience, because I do have, as you guys remember, I was diagnosed no long ago, only a month ago, with certain issues like bulging disc and slip disc and arthritis, which I'm now in pain one more time. But we are back into alignment. I'm very positive. There is no coincidence that I continue with this search about health. So having scoliosis and now having these issues, it's just always remind us that health is always in our hands, and we always have the possibility to continue coming back into alignment, you know. So it's so funny. But thank you. I mean, I see this technique is revolutionary, as you commented all the cases, and that's why you actually came back from a short retirement back into be on at service to people, because you can see the power, and you can actually spread this all over USA and hopefully around the world. Before we actually finish our call today, I wanted to know a little bit more about you as a human. I know you have grandkids. I know you love to hear the shark song with your kids because your grandkids, it really connects you to them as a grandpa. But I wanted to know today, you bringing this wisdom from your mistakes. What was one of the lessons that you learned so far?
What I've learned so far is that you have to, with health, you have to be very persistent. We have patients sometimes will come and they expect immediate results because they're used to taking medicine which cover up the symptoms. But persistence with your health is the most important thing. If you don't take care of it now, you're going to have worse problems later. And that's the biggest lesson that I learned with my patients and personally. That's what you have to do.
Yeah, persistence and also preventative. I remember I asked questions about, the journey of the doctors, and they always say you don't have to wait to be in pain to actually come and see us. It's also very smart. It's just come every 3 months to do a checkup and see how our body feels and how your mobility is. So we don't have to really wait until the pain is exacerbated to a point that is in excruciating pain, which most of the time that's what we do. So having a preventative program where we actually can be active, understand the variety of how we can actually prevent future injuries are actually super important too. So definitely having persistence, having patience, and being on top of our health, because it's our wealth. Number one, wealth is our health. So right. Thank you so much, Dr. Ernest Pecoraro. We had an amazing conversation again about concussions. I know we can go much deeper, but remember, the brain and body is connected, and it's what it actually sends signals to our entire body. So it's so important to take care of our brain. Brain health is crucial. And I love how doctors like you are actually bringing awareness into this and into their patients. And I'm looking forward for the next talk, which is going to be next week. And we're going to complete our talks about TMJ. So if you have any questions about TMJ, this is a very popular topic now where we see a lot of people having tightness around the jaw. We're going to be talking about TMJ and Epic Technique and how Epic Technique can help with this issue. So thank you so much and enjoy this weekend. We do have now a long weekend and in Canada. So have a beautiful weekend with your family. Enjoy the nature. It's summer. And thank you, Dr. Pecoraro.
Thank you for having me on. And I just wanted to mention that if anybody wants a phone conversation with me, they're welcome to do that. They could go to goepicclinic.co and they could sign up for a consultation on the phone.
Yes, exactly. We have a free consultation with Dr. Pecoraro, and I'm actually going to write the direct link so you can just book your consultation. And perhaps if you're not in States, have the possibility to go and meet him in person. Since this technique it has not been spread yet all in other countries, we still can actually go there. Why not, right? So thank you so much. Have a beautiful weekend, and thank you for that gift to our audience. Have a beautiful time. Thank you. Remember that together we are stronger.
We invite you to subscribe to this channel and share with your community. Please leave comments below, and if you like the episode, click the like button. Have a beautiful day.